Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 179, entitled New Switches Revealed. And we're going to be talking a lot about those new Switches. We're going to be talking about our thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 and a lot of other stories. But my name is Steve, and I am joined today by Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while since it's been a month since we've been on the podcast. I unfortunately had to miss out last episode, but I know you and Greg had a pretty good discussion without me, especially there at the end.
Yeah, we had some fun discussions. We definitely missed you, of course. But as they say, the show must go on.
It must, and you guys did a great job for sure. Unfortunately, Greg is not with us at the beginning, but he'll be joining us pretty soon, and we'll get him on here as soon as he shows up. But like I said, there's a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the new Switches and the Joy-Cons and Super Mario Maker 2 and a bunch of other things. But before we jump into that, we do want to talk about you guys, because you guys are what makes this podcast so awesome. And if you are new, we want you to hit that like button. We want you to hit that subscribe button, and we want you to hit that bell, especially here on YouTube. All those different things just help you to be alerted every time we go live, every time we go, post podcast or any of our other videos here on YouTube. Maybe you're listening later on another podcast app of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button there too, and share this with friends. If you have other people that really love Nintendo and just love hearing other people talk about Nintendo, share this with others, and that'd be great as well. And here's the deal: we go live every couple weeks to talk about Nintendo, and it's a great time here on the podcast. But we would love to engage with you guys in conversation about Nintendo throughout the week and between those podcasts. So if you've not followed us on social media, be sure to do that, and also join our Discord server, and all the links for that will be in the show notes here on YouTube, down in the description. And that'd be great to just join in with you guys and talk, especially throughout the podcast. If you're joining us live, we'd love for you to just throw all your thoughts about everything that we're talking about in the chat, and we'll refer to the chat several times throughout the podcast, and love to just hear your feedback on what we're talking about. But let's jump right in. And Barry, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing quite a bit. I'm still playing Final Fantasy XIV, as I will be for the foreseeable future. Shadowbringers is just too amazing of an expansion, and if you like classic Final Fantasy, you just owe yourself to play this expansion. It's amazing. On the mobile end, I have been playing Dragalia Lost, of course. New content. Astral Rage just came out. A great way for them to recycle older content with new rewards. They're just doing a great job keeping up with that game, and I'm having way more fun than I ever thought I would with a Nintendo mobile title with that. Still messing around with Pokemon Go. I know they're doing some things with Team Rocket are live now. I just really haven't paid attention. I log in, I do my daily thing, and I log out. And then I know we'll be talking about it in a little bit, but Dr. Mario World, I've been messing around with that as well. That came out. And on the Switch end, I finally got to Super Mario Maker 2. I know you and Greg both had a head start over me. I played through the story 100%, got everything, really enjoyed it. I made a couple levels that I shared through our Discord, and you've been having fun with that. And I actually started Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which I'm not terribly far in. I'm past the first area. I'm able to change my team out. Mm-hmm. But so far it's interesting. I did the first challenge, like I went to go do the first, like the Infinity thing. It's like level 7, and I got my ass kicked. Like I was doing like 5 damage to Nebula, and I'm like, why am I doing so little damage? I'm level 7 too. Like this doesn't make sense. Like, why would you give me something that's going to kick my butt right away? But I know I'll be able to go back to it. But it's one of those. It's a fun game so far. Yeah. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I've actually been playing very similar things. I've been playing Dr. Mario World, which we'll talk about in just a bit. of course, been playing Rocket League, so no need to talk about that much more. I've put in like almost 300 hours, I think, in so far. But and that's not counting the other systems. I think which Jakester actually noticed that on my Switch profile. He's like, "Who put in so many?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be me." And then Super Mario Maker 2. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But I also put it in a good number of hours. I think maybe 6 to 7 hours in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And a little bit, I'm kind of caught off guard because I feel like the camera is zoomed in more than it used to be in 1 and 2, and it threw me off in the beginning. But also I'm playing a single player, so maybe that's a little bit difference when I play a multiplayer. I'm not sure if it zooms out at all, if it's always close. But it threw me off in the beginning, but it took just a few levels, and I got used to it. But yeah, it's a fun game. I've gotten a little bit further than you, and kind of was thrown off as well by like there's some challenging battles there in the beginning, and it's interesting. I feel like the boss battles are quicker paced than 1 and 2. I feel like I'm encountering bosses a lot quicker than I did in 1 and 2, which keeps things interesting for sure. But at the same time, it's a lot. It seems like a lot of rinse and repeat sort of things as well. So I think the big thing is that I get to get some time to play with a friend. And so Barry, we'll have to play online sometime and see how the co-op is like, because that's the fun that I had in 1 and 2 was playing with friends. And I contacted the other 2 friends that I played 1 and 2 with, and I remember just staying up hours into the evening, like just all sitting on the couch and like hammering away at the game, and neither of them have a Switch, and I was like, man, I really wanted to play this with you guys. So I'll have to seek out some other friends, I guess, and play through 3. So we'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah, I agree. The camera is the one thing that right now has been irking me, because I hate playing a game like that where it's so zoomed in. I don't care if I'm an ant. I just like to be able to see more of the field. Although I did find myself losing where I am, like in big battles, like, oh, which one am I? Oh, I'm over here attacking. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm really down here. What the heck? I'm just attacking the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm sure I'm gonna get used to that. But yeah, definitely. And they just had San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend, and Nintendo was there with some Marvel Ultimate Alliance news. Did you catch that at all?
Yes, I did. Yeah, which is pretty exciting. I have not bought the DLC yet, but I'm excited that the free characters are coming. It's Cyclops and Colossus, I think from X-Men, and yeah, the DLC. I want to buy it, but at the same time, like I just shelled out $60 for the whole game, so I'm like, I'm gonna hold back on the DLC for now. But it's kind of cool. You get an extra, I guess, a extra skin for Deadpool if you do buy the DLC, the season pass, I guess. So.
Yeah, you get right now Marvel Knights is the only one that's shown off. Seeing Blade is cool, and obviously Mephisto is cool, and the Punisher and stuff. So it's really nice to see those characters. Moon Knight, I think, is the 4th. And with the Cyclops and Colossus, like they showed them in the treehouse, and they had voice and everything, and they got like sent off somewhere, and I'm like, wait a second, you guys are talking about X-Men, but you guys aren't talking about those 2. Those 2 were clearly there. Like, why are you not talking about them? Are they just not in the game? And then they revealed the full roster, and I didn't see them, and I was like, what the heck? Like, they're fully developed. Like, don't make it DLC when the character's already there. So I'm really happy to see that they're free DLC, because I felt after they showed all that, I'm sure they got people saying, hey, we saw the footage on Treehouse. We want to play Cyclops. We want to play Colossus. Why are they not there? Because there is an X-Men DLC pack coming. So I'm glad this is not included. And I hope this is the way they're going to do it. There's going to be more free DLC as well.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I was slightly disappointed when I originally heard they had DLC characters, because I was like, man, the original games just had so many characters for the actual price of the game. I was like, don't make me, like, in the end, it's like another $20 or $25 for the deal. And so, like, that's a lot of money, $70 or $80 for the, for all that. When, in the past I paid, $50 or $60 for the original 1 and 2 to have all those characters. And I'm sure they're going to have even more with the DLC, but it's great to see that they're adding more characters without having to pay for it as well.
Well, you do remember Ultimate Alliance absolutely did have DLC. In fact, Ultimate Alliance 1's DLC is kind of controversial in a sense. It's one of those advocates for physical media, in fact, because they added the DLC and then they lost the rights to those characters. So the DLC had to be stripped from the store. So if you have like the vanilla version of the game, you have the complete game, but you don't have the complete game. You don't have those extra characters and you can't get them. However, I believe it was only on 360 they released the special edition version of the game, or the gold edition version. They released it twice, once as a platinum hits and one as a regular. And those versions of the discs actually contained the DLC characters. So it's the only way to play the full version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 with all the DLC are those discs.
Did they have DLC on the GameCube version?
I'm assuming was it on GameCube? I thought it was only on Wii 360, PS3.
Was it Wii?
It was Wii,
okay, maybe it was
and
Wii,
it probably did have DLC. I would assume it would, but again, all that they lost the rights, so all that DLC is gone, and especially on the Wii. I mean, there's no way to download now on the Wii anyway. So those, like, if you wanted to go back and play Ultimate Alliance and you wanted the full roster, you had no choice but to find those 360 discs, which are naturally more expensive than the vanilla version of the game.
Right. I don't think I even realized they had DLC for those, because I think we just played with those friends. We just played with who was on the game to start with. So I don't think I even realized there was that there at all. So
yeah, I don't know if 2 had DLC, because 2, as far as I know, there's only one version of 2. But it's see, that's why one thing I hate about DLC. Like, I love it and I hate it, because I love it because it adds to the game, but I want Game of the Year edition versions. I want them to re-release with all the content on the disc. Like, even when they did like Zelda, they re-released in the big box. Like, if it said, "Hey, we have the expansion pass on the disc," I would totally buy that again. But yeah, like, so yeah, it doesn't bother me that there's DLC, because there is a lot of characters in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. There's a lot of base characters, and if you factor in Cyclops and Colossus into that mix as well, because they're free, there's a really good chunk of characters. This is only if you want more. And my thing with the DLC is it's not coming till fall. I'm not going to be, I shouldn't say I'm not, but the odds of me playing this game a lot in the fall or even into next year are probably slim to none, because there's going to be all these other games coming out. And that's one of the things that it's supposed to bring me back to the game. But do I really want to go back just to grind new characters? Probably not, unless there's, if we're doing it together as friends, or if there's some kind of additional content. And I hate that, because like, I'd love to play with the whole full roster, but do I really want to pay $20 just to look at their picture and go, okay, I'm done, turn it off, pick out the game and play Link's Awakening or whatever,
Right, because like me, I find a couple characters that I really like playing with, and I'll just stick with them. Like, I love like trying out different ones, but as far as like playing through the game, I'll stick with a smaller roster and like really build them up and just really pour into them. And I don't know if that's worth that extra money. And it's interesting, because I was questioning this, and it seems like you just confirmed it. It's not going to be extra levels or anything like that. It's just characters, because it does say character DLC. It
does say story. It does say there's new story content. So there is that. But again, you have to think about the competition, and you have to think about what you're going to be doing. And again, this is very much a couch co-op game. So if it's like the holiday season and you want to wait till like the holiday season, you have like cousins over or friends over, and you're just sitting around, you say, hey, let's play through it. The $20 is well worth it, 100%. But if you don't have that, or you have no one else to play with, or you're busy, we don't know the full roster in terms of Nintendo's holiday. We're not sure if things are going to be shifted around. But if you're in the middle of like Pokemon Sword and Shield, or you still get into Luigi's Mansion, we wanted to play these games at this point.
Sure. Yeah. So let's go to the chat. Let's see. Looks like Jakesters kind of pulled out Xenoblade 2 and he's had no power where he was, but during that time, he got some time with Xenoblade 2, which I'm sure makes you pretty happy there, Barry.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, looks like that's pretty much all guys have been saying so far. Douglas is asking if we're going to talk about Nintendo Lite. It's in the title tonight. New Switches have been revealed, so we're definitely going to get to that pretty soon. And how about a little tease there, Barry? I know there's something that people need to stick around till the end of this podcast for, right? I'm going to give a little tease maybe about that.
Yeah. Well, you want me to go into it or just tease?
Let's just tease them because we want them to stick around for the whole podcast.
Fair
sure.
enough.
Yeah.
Well, we've done something over the past 2 years that we're very, very happy to be able to bring to our listeners and to our followers. And all I'll say is we're able, thankfully, to do it again this year. And to find out what that is, I guess we'll talk about that later on in the podcast.
Yes. And what Barry doesn't know is I also have a second surprise as well at the end of the podcast. It may not, depending on your perspective, it may not be as cool, but it is pretty cool. So some really great things at the end of the podcast. So make sure you do stay tuned for sure. But let's jump into that big news. Pretty much right after you guys finish the podcast, as normal, Nintendo decides to drop a ton of news. Like the day after, I think it was, we found out on July 10th that this whole Switch Mini, well, it's kind of real. They're actually going to call it the Switch Lite. So following the 3DS Lite, or did they have a 3DS Lite? Or was it
Yeah.
game? Yeah,
it was DS Lite.
DS Lite, right? DS Lite and 3DS. And then, so yeah, they're bringing the Nintendo Switch Lite out, and it's going to come in 3 different colors at first, and it's going to be releasing on September 20th. So not too far around the corner. We're going to have 3 new Switches in the Lite format. So they're going to be in 3 different colors, a gray format and all of these have white or grayish buttons. But this is like a darker gray color, a yellow color, and kind of a turquoise color. And these are going to be slightly smaller, and it's going to have a 5.5-inch screen. It's going to have a slightly better battery life. I think it's going to be going up to like 5-6 hours, if I'm correct. I'll check the thing just a second when we start talking about battery life. But it is a better battery life than the original Switch, and it's also got as we assumed would happen. The Joy-Cons are actually attached, and you cannot remove them at all. And the left 4-button array that was on the original Joy-Con. So these 4 buttons here are actually a control pad. So the plus control pad is on that left one, so that you can use it for whatever games that you'd like to use it for. A lot of people that were kind of missing that on the Joy-Cons. So yeah, attached Joy-Cons that you can't remove. So they better battery life. Slightly smaller overall with a 5.5-inch screen. It also, of course, loses the HD rumble because those were in the Joy-Cons. So you lose the HD rumble. You also lose the kickstand. I don't think they don't expect you to be propping this one up and playing, even though you can attach Joy-Cons to it via Bluetooth. And controller and things like that. It does not have a kickstand, so you're gonna have to find a different way of propping it up if you do want to play that way. And it also loses that IR sensor that was in the right Joy-Con. But that's not all. It also loses maybe the biggest thing, the ability to connect to your TV. This is strictly a handheld device. So is this the actual replacement for the 3DS, for the DS, and everything, the Game Boy line? Is this are we officially going to one device, and it's just the Switch Lite and the Switch main Switch, and maybe Switch Pro down the line? We don't know, but it definitely seems like that. Then on top of that news, they have 3 colors. They added a 4th one that's going to be available in October. Is that correct? Am I getting that correct? Or November? I think it's right around November 8th.
November.
Yeah, November 8th, with Pokemon Sword and Shield. They're going to have a Pokemon version, which does not surprise me at all. I don't know if it does you, Barry, but to have a Pokemon version of this. And in my opinion, this is the coolest looking one. It's kind of a light gray color. It's got the legendaries on the back. The buttons on the front are that turquoise and kind of magenta color, kind of plays off the Sword and Shield colors. And I think this is the coolest looking one of them all. So, Barry, what do you think of the Nintendo Switch Lite?
Well, I mean, it's something that's been rumored for a long time. I was really hoping for a Pro, and I do expect a Pro now next year to compete with the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet. I think it's smart. I think it is the nail in the 3DS coffin. And Nintendo has stated like, oh no, we're going to continue to support the 3DS, and the 3DS isn't dead, but they have nothing to show for the 3DS. There's no more titles coming to the 3DS in terms of physical. I think actually I stand corrected. I think GameStop has one unannounced SKU. If I had to put my money on it, that might be Yokai Watch Blasters 2. Because it's the only Yokai Watch game to not come to America on the Switch or on the 3DS, and it just seems like logical. Like, oh, Yokai Watch 4 is coming over here. Here, have this for the 3DS. You know, it is the nail. I mean, they said the same thing with the GBA. Like, oh, the DS isn't the GBA killer. No, the GBA is going to keep going. It's a third pillar. No, it's not. I think that they've put all their resources at this time into the Switch, and that's the way it's going to be. The Switch Lite is the portable version of the Switch, which is, in between. And I expect the Switch Pro to be a console version of the Switch. It would make sense, and I guess we'll see. I'm a little annoyed, though, that this has come to fruition because I, no joke, just finished designing a Nintendo handheld display. And I wasn't going to include the Switch because I'm like, well, technically it's more like console, and I'm not going to. And now it's like this comes out, and I'm like, I said to my wife, I'm like, you know what, this counts as a handheld now. And she's like, oh, are you serious? I said, yeah, now I got to check and see if we can have room just to put this in there, which also means I have to purchase it. But I'm not going to be purchasing it at launch. I'm going to wait. It's not something I absolutely have to have right away. In fact, I want to say my Switch is played probably 95% of the time docked. The only time I've had it undocked is when doing some indie titles, just when I want to play it like at night in bed, or when I've been traveling. Like for the last holiday, it was in Tennessee for Thanksgiving time, and I was able to bring my Switch down and stuff like that. So otherwise, it's docked.
Yeah.
I love that Pro controller way too much. And I found myself at a detriment actually using the Joy-Cons and some things like Smash. Like if you said, oh, let's play Smash portably, I would be so much worse at the game than if I had the GameCube controller, the wireless GameCube controller, because that's what I'm just so used to.
Yeah.
But I think it's smart. I think that's going to make money. I think it's going to take up the space on the store shelves where the 3DS and the 2DS have fit. And they can now just do it cheaper, put out new colors. I mean, that's one of the things Nintendo loves to do with their handheld is here's new versions and new colors and all that stuff. So, yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And I forgot to mention the price. It is at $199 instead of the Switch is $299. And so it is $100 cheaper. We don't know if it is going to be more durable or anything, but in my opinion, it definitely seems like Nintendo is reaching out to the younger audiences with this. I mean, it's the brighter colors. It's the attached screens. It's normally not always, but typically children or younger kids or something like that are usually the ones that are playing more on the go. Not always. I know Greg is one of the guys that I know that he's clearly an adult and he plays more on the go than he plays docked. So there are exceptions to the rule, but I feel like this is definitely more built for kids. But it could also be, I think, good for a second Switch in the house as well. So like, I know we've talked about this before, if my wife is going to get one, and I didn't really know if there was a point of her getting a full blown Switch, but I can maybe see myself down the line, if there's a couple games that she really wants to play, get our second Switch. It could be a Switch Lite. It saves us some money. And, if we want to play on the TV, we pop mine in there and we're good. But if we want to play on the go, now she's got her Switch Lite. And it's easier to fit in her purse because it's smaller and things like that too. So yeah, what do you think, Barry? Am I on, or do you have different thoughts on who this is kind of geared to?
Well, it's definitely geared more for the younger audience, but I think it's also geared for the people on the go audience, and that is very heavily is Japan. Japan is a lot of the people are on the go constantly. Portable gaming is huge over there. I think it speaks to them. And I like people like Greg. He commutes a lot. He takes the train to work. I think he might enjoy this. And I know there's a ton of people in this area that commute to New York City all the time via train. So I could definitely see them, getting some use out of this. Now, there's one thing I feel this is missing, and I'm kind of shocked, and at the same time I'm not. This is kind of going back. Like, you have to think back, and before we had these cool things called smartphones, there was this period of time where the coolest portable device was called a PDA, or a pocket computer. And it actually had one feature which was really cool. It had this like leather protecting film that went over the actual screen, and you would flip it back, and it would fold around behind it while you used your touchscreen, and then you would flip it back over. And this was even used in certain handhelds like the Tapwave Zodiac, which was palm based. And it's such a cool idea. It protects your screen, so you can put in your pocket, you put in your bag, and your screen is not damaged. And this could so easily put this in the Switch Lite, and it would be so awesome. Like, because that's my big thing. Like the 3DS, I would take that in my pocket, no problem. Same with the DS. I loved the fact that the screen was protected. When I got my Vita, I never put that thing in a pocket. I put that in a carrying case in my, in my backpack or wherever, but it always had to go in a carrying case. I would never just put it in my pocket because I was worried about that screen being damaged. Same with the Switch now. I would never do it. I put it in the carrying case and put it in a backpack and or in my briefcase or in a suitcase or wherever I'm taking with me. And I think this would have been a nice solution to do that.
Yeah, that's true. It would have been really nice. I think especially because Nintendo has kind of conditioned us now with the Game Boy SP that had clamshell, the DS, now the 3DS. We've been conditioned to protect the screens of our handheld devices, and yeah, we do put our phones and stuff in our pockets and everything, but a lot of us do have screen protectors, and they will make screen protectors. In fact, they did announce, I believe, a case or a thing that you could put in when you travel and everything, which is great, but it's not built in, it's not attached. It would be kind of nice, like you're saying, to have something that just attaches to it, flips over. I think of my iPad, like the smart covers that are attached by my magnets, and it just kind of flips over, protects it. I slide in my bag, I'm good to go. It would be nice to have something like that to protect it, especially if this is a dedicated handheld device. I wonder if that screen is going to be, if there's any additional features into it to make sure that it's not getting scratched. I haven't heard anything. I guess we'll find out when it actually comes out. I'm sure people are going to do tests on it and and try to destroy it all over YouTube and see how durable it is. But I agree, that is it's an unfortunate thing that seems to be missing. It kind of a little oversight, but I don't know. Is it? You think it's something they could add later?
I mean, just like the iPad thing, it absolutely is something that could be added later. In fact, I have a Switch carrying case that it fits around the Switch, and it does have that flap in front to protect. And then that flap actually, just like an iPad, it folds around and back and creates a tabletop stand. And I use that a lot of times when I'm traveling. You can't dock it with it in it, but it does allow, like when traveling, if I'm not using a case, that's what I use just to protect it. And of course, it could be added. I'm sure there's going to be someone to add it because it works for iPads. And that iPad idea stemmed from the PDA idea prior to. The only difference is the PDA idea, it was actually attached to the unit. You couldn't take it without it. The iPad, it's obviously, they want more money. So, okay, if we didn't give you $1,000 for an iPad, how about an extra $100 to protect it? That's just the way it works. So I wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo sold. I don't know if you remember when they came out with the DS or the 2DS. It was designed for kids and couldn't break, but they also had those Nerf cases for the 3DS as well as the 2DS that were specifically designed for kids. So if they threw it across the room or whatever, it protected it. I can see something like that coming out for the Switch Lite.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Amazon now makes those even for the Fire tablets. You can get a kids edition, which comes like with this huge thing on it that's all like Nerf like and and supposed to protect it from falls and things like that. I don't know if they'll actually go to that extent of creating something like that, but I'm sure that Nerf and other companies like that will be creating things to go on the Switch to the Switch Lite to protect it for sure. It is very tempting though to have a smaller one to take on the go. And the thought that I had is I had two thoughts that would actually probably set me over for actually getting a second one. One, if I had the ability to transfer information, like if I could just like I do my phone, my iPad, for instance, like it's a single sign-on thing that I'm able to just pop up, one that has the same information, and then I go to the other device and it's all the same games, shares the same save data and all that stuff, and it's easily syncable between the two. That would be awesome. And I think I could almost like see myself keeping my Switch regularly when at home more and taking the Lite on the go with me more because it is slightly smaller. It's more portable. But also I would have liked to have the controls tilted just a little bit to make it a little more comfortable, I think, with them zoomed in. I just don't like playing on the go that often with a lot of games. My hands start cramping, and being smaller and in the same orientation, I just don't feel like I would enjoy playing on it for very long. And so I feel like if the controls were just switched a little bit, and if it could sync, I'd be buying one day one. Any thoughts about that? Anything that would like make you buy it day one as well?
I don't know if it would make me buy it day one, but that is something I would love. And that is something like, I wonder how it works with the digital titles, if it would transfer over. Like, oh, I have Smash on my Switch downloaded, but I want to just instantly pick this one up and also play Smash. Would I be able to do that? As a physical collector, that doesn't bother me because I could just take out the card and go, boom, done in. It's the save data. And I know like with the cloud saving, maybe, you might be able to bounce it back and forth. However, are you able to have two primary? Because you can have your account on a second Switch, but only one could be the primary. And it's like, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm not sure either because I only have one Switch right now. So I think, I don't know. I think I'm sure other people have, multiple ones and they've tried those things out, but I've not been able to actually, do that. And I've not really looked into it until now because I just thought, I'm only going to have one Switch and that's no problem. But now it's got me thinking. I'm like, if I do get a second one, how is that going to work? And be interesting to find out. I'm sure someone in the chat get two.
That's why you want physical,
right? But like you said, like the save data and stuff, that would be nice to pull over as well. But I do know, like, one of the things that when I bought my recent like other travel case, like it came with a cartridge case, but it also came with, I think it's actually right here, came with a micro SD case that goes in there as well. I was like, do people actually switch out their micro SD cards on a regular basis? Is that something that maybe I should be doing more? Because every time I have switched it out to upgrade it, it's actually been kind of a pain in the butt because I've had to re-download everything. And I'm wondering like if people actually do that. Because it seems like at least accessory companies are thinking that people actually swap out their micro SD on a regular basis in order to like carry them with you. But I'm wondering if that has to play into it as well. If you can pop out, just like the cartridge, if you can pop out your micro SD from one switch to the next, if that would work too.
Yeah, I know some people do it, especially for digital. They'll download a bunch of games and have it on this one SD card, and they just swap out the SD cards. I mean, to me, that's a little harder to do. I'm a little more scared about that. There's so much if you lose, if you swap it out, or if you do wind up losing the actual card. But some people, that's what they do. I mean, it's whatever works for you as long as you're having fun. And that's why there's that case, that little carrier with your case that came with it, just because there are people that do that.
Yeah. Let's go to the chat and see what's going on over here. Hassan is in the chat. Hey, Hassan. And I said Switch Lite is interesting. It's exactly what I expected, with a cheaper, portable, focused Switch for the holidays to help sell Pokemon and complete with the Pokemon Special Edition. But he doesn't think he needs it, so he'll pass. And then what he might end up getting is the Dragon Quest Switch bundle coming to Japan because of an exclusive Joy-Cons. Hassan is a big Joy-Con fan. He collected, I think, all the Wii remotes. I think he's probably in the process of collecting all the Joy-Con colors as well. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And we'll talk about Joy-Cons in just a second because Nintendo just released some more. And let's see. Yeah, the guys are talking about the slip case. Yeah, so it looks like what you guys are talking about right now in the chat. Continue to throw your thoughts there about all the stuff we're talking about. If you guys are planning on getting a Switch Lite, and if so, what color? Barry, of the 4 options out there, what's your favorite for the color?
I'm a green guy, so the turquoise is what gets me. I know if there was a purple one, my wife would probably want it, even though she just got a Switch in November. But so I guess we'll have to see what else they come. Like if they do like some kind of like Link's Awakening one, I'll be like, no, like I'll have no choice. But I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. I think of the original, or the original 3, I'd say the gray is my favorite, which is funny because I think I watched some other videos and listened to some podcasts where like, why did they even make a gray one? Who wants the gray one? I was like, I want the gray one because I'm pretty basic in my color choice, and I usually don't want my handheld devices and stuff to stand out. Like I get a black iPhone, like I get a clear case for my phone. Like I usually don't. Like I have an iPad. I got the black iPad with the gray case on it. Like I don't usually stand out a whole lot with my my portable devices and stuff. So I'd go for the gray one, but that Pokemon Special Edition one is pretty sweet. I may get that one instead. If I was getting one, I may hold out for the Pokemon Special Edition one.
To be fair, I'm also the same way. I think my iPhone is actually silver, but I have a black case on it, so you can't see. Like when the GameCube came out, I got the black GameCube. Portables are a little different. Like my Game Boys have all been different colors outside the original, which was obviously gray. I've always gone for colors. The 3DS though, when that launched in 2 colors. I got the black. Like if black is an option and green is not, then I'll get black or like gray. Like even the Switch, when the Switch launched, everyone's like red and blue, and I'm like the only one with the gray Joy-Cons because that's what I bought.
Right there. Yeah. I was like, no, I don't want red and blue ones. That's dumb. I do like my red Joy-Cons though. The red ones that I imported are pretty sweet. And I had that on my Switch for a long time. In fact, I don't really know why I switched back, but I did. But speaking of Joy-Con colors, we got some new ones on the way, along with a Switch refresh, new models coming. So the small news first, or depending on, I guess, your perspective, this may not be the lesser news for Hassan, that he's so excited, I'm sure, because we're going to be getting 2 new Joy-Con sets. And as far as I know, these are only going to come in the combo sets. It doesn't seem they didn't seem to allude to buying these single or anything like that. But the first set is kind of a dark blue and a neon yellow. I don't know if this is the same neon yellow that has already been out or not, or if it's slightly different. But it's like a dark blue and neon yellow. And then the other set is a neon purple and a neon orange. And like I said, as far as I know, you can only buy those in the combo sets. I know Hassan is probably super excited about the dark blue. I am excited about the dark blue. I would probably be buying them if I could buy 2 of them, but it looks like you only get the left in dark blue, and you have to get the yellow and the right Joy-Con. So before we jump into the other model of the Switch, Barry, what are your thoughts about these new colored Joy-Cons?
I think it's getting to the point of ridiculousness that they do not release each color with a matching pair. A lot of people like funky 2 different colors, and I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people also like consistency and the same. And I think that like I have the neon green Joy-Cons, the Splatoon ones, and the only way I have those 2 is I had to get the one released here in America, and then I had to import the one from Japan that came with the system bundle because I didn't want to buy a whole new Switch. But that also meant now I have a pair of neon pink Joy-Cons that I didn't really want. I wound up giving them to my wife, but it was like I had to do this. I really had to buy 4 Joy-Cons to only get 2, and I think that we need to have the ability to do that. And there's no option here. So if you want both orange or you want both purples, you can't. Or even this new blue, you can't. And yeah. I think they should do that. Even if it's another country and we have to import it, at least give us the option. When you take away the option, it bothers me. Not to the point that I'm angry. I just think it's a silly move.
Right.
I mean, it's not like one Joy-Con shell is any different than the other. It's just a color difference. You can easily make a left orange or a right orange or whatever the other one is. I don't know. I don't know why they're not.
Yeah, it does seem odd. And I think it's interesting too that I think Hassan confirmed that the neon yellow is the yellow we already have. And so like why mix it? If you're going to get new colors, why mix that with one we already have? It'd be better if it was with a brand new color or something. But yeah, if they had 2 dark blues, I'd be right with you, Hassan. I'd be slapping those on my Switch right away. And then we did also get information about a new Switch model that's coming out. But before we jump into that, I want to welcome Greg. Hey, Greg. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, sorry I've been so late.
That's all right. That's all right. So before we jump into this new model of the Switch, what's your thoughts on the Switch Lite? We finished up our discussion, but we want to make sure that you kind of get your thoughts in there about the Switch Lite.
Well, yeah, I don't think this is obviously targeted at people like us, even like myself, even though I'm a primarily portable gamer. But I do see like their market is more intention probably for like children because it's like more portable, more compact, and that way it doesn't have to connect to a TV, and it's a perfect device you can bring with you wherever you go and travel or whatever and whatnot. So, or you could just sit on the couch and play with it there. So then again, I mean, that's my opinions of it. I know like the advertisements were showing like more like older people playing it, but I really don't see that, especially if you already have the current version of it. There's no reason to upgrade to it at all, but it comes in at a nicer price point for making it more affordable for maybe people that don't want the dock, or maybe it is for like a child for like a gift or something for Christmas or birthday or whatnot. So
Yeah, the price point and that lower entry option is a really cool thing. I think that's going to be picking up a lot of different extra sales heading into the holiday, especially people that want a second one or want some for their kids or want some for maybe you don't jump on your TV at all. You don't really actually do that very often. Maybe you don't even have a TV. I think a lot of younger people. I was over at a friend's house the other day that had just graduated from college, and he didn't have a TV in his house, and he was okay with that. I could see someone like that jumping on this, because why spend that extra $100 for attaching it to a TV when you're not ever going to do that? So that's going to be, I think, cool for a lot of those people. Greg, it doesn't sound like you're probably going to get one of these day one, but if you were, of the 4 different color options, which one would you grab?
Probably that turquoise blue one. That does seem kind of nice. Like it would be an interesting color to go with, but.
Nice. So we got 2 turquoise ones. I'd be the only one with the gray one, and the Pokemon edition I think is the one I'd officially land on. But
you're
yeah,
not alone.
Barry said the same thing.
You're not alone. Doug in the chat said that he's getting the gray one as well.
Nice. At least two of us are going to buy the gray.
Yeah, I mean, you're also talking to someone that preferred the neon one over the basic gray and black model too. So
yeah,
I didn't just do it for the increased rarity. It was because I actually like the color, like the neon blue and red set. So
nice. Yeah, actually, Barry and I were just talking about how we are typically we don't go bright in our color choice for stuff like that. But he thought about going because he really likes green. Seems like you're kind of the other side of things. You'd rather go flashy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, at least all the handheld like Game Boys, I've always gone for like other colored options. I never had the original one, but I did have like the Game Boy Color, and it was like that see-through like purplish one, and then like the Game Boy Advance I had on like was like that aqua color or whatever it was.
The Glacier Ice.
Yeah, Glacier.
Yep.
Yeah, the Glacier Ice one.
Same here.
Yep, I got the Glacier one.
And then even though I was a launch owner of like the DS, but then when I upgraded, I got like the Cobalt Light or whatever. But
nice. Well, we didn't only just get the Switch Lite. We actually got a Switch 2. No, not quite a Switch 2, but a refresh. And we're not exactly sure how they've done it. And our guesses and people that are a lot smarter than me, I think have figured it out. That I think whatever system on a chip that they used for the Switch Lite, I think they're also putting that in the original Nintendo Switch and have increased the battery life on that one too. So I think it used to be a 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours. So a fairly low battery life, still slightly better than some of their systems in the past. But this new model is actually going to last between 4.5 hours all the way up to 9 hours on your Switch. And so that does compare to the Switch Lite, which I think also has a very similar battery life. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it might be 3 to 7 hours. So you might actually get potentially an extra 2 hours out of this new Switch model. And yeah, it does have a slightly different model number. It's like HAC001, and then in parentheses, it's like another like -01 or a -01. So it is a completely different serial number or model number. But it seems to be the only difference really is maybe that system on a chip, the NVIDIA chip has changed in order to give them a better battery life, which is really awesome. But is it worth going and get a new Switch just for better battery life? What do you think, Greg?
Unfortunately not. If it's only battery life as it's been stated, then I don't think that's enough reasons to warrant paying another $300 for a Switch. As much as I would really love that battery life more, especially since I don't really play on the TV and really depend on its battery as much as I can, it still doesn't seem like it's worth it. If it had like a little kick in graphics or would be getting like kind of like that new 3DS situation, then perhaps I would much more consider it. But if it's simply just a battery life improvement, then it's not worth the upgrade.
Yeah.
I wish I could like send it in and they can put in a new battery for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Or give it a significant discount, a trade-in sort of thing. Barry, this your the Switch Pro that you're hoping for?
No, this is absolutely hands down not the Switch Pro. This is this reminds me of when they quietly added a bigger battery for the Wii U gamepad, and then like people found out about it much later on. Like, oh wait, you mean we could actually use that thing for more than 2.5 hours? That's really what it is. I think I want to say that was maybe the #1 complaint when the Switch launched was the battery life. So they definitely they're tackling that, which is great to see. I'm glad they're not charging anything. I do wish they would offer something to Switch owners, especially as day oneers who are like, hey, you know what? You've been supporting us, so we're gonna either trade out and upgrade your battery for free, which would be an amazing thing. But this is Nintendo we're talking about, so they might say, hey, send us in your Switch and we'll replace the battery and you'll get it back in a month. and we'll only charge you $20, but you're without your Switch for a month. In which case I wouldn't bother. But I guess we'll see. But as of now, I don't think Nintendo's even doing anything to anybody who's bought a Switch.
Right.
Yeah, that's not Nintendo at all.
Yeah, it'd be great if they did. So Hudson brings up something in the chat that I was thinking as well. And here's the deal. So Wall Street Journal, we've talked about this several times on previous podcasts, that they've reported that we're going to have 2 new Switch models coming in 2019. And lo and behold, what did we get was 2 new Switch models in 2019. A lot of people have been thinking that was the Lite and the Pro, or the Mini and the Pro. But what we got was a revision and the Lite. So is that Pro actually going to happen? Barry, you've alluded to it already, saying that it is, but maybe for 2020. Greg, what do you think?
I wouldn't put it past them if it was like 2020 or maybe even 2021. But obviously at that point, you're almost better off with the Switch successor at that point, because I don't know how long the system will be able to hold solid, especially with the new Xbox and PlayStation around the corner. But I would think that it would be at least until next year, because anything else would just cannibalize their revision and quite possibly the Lite, depending on how much they go big with the Pro, an actual Pro edition.
That's a good point. I mean, does it make sense still to release a Pro in 2020, or does it make sense to release the next edition maybe in 2021? What do you think, Barry?
I think it depends on NVIDIA more than anyone. I think they need to make sure they're getting the best bang for their buck. I think the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet are going to be the real determiners of what happens. Now, obviously, they're coming out in 2020, next year, but the PS4 and the Xbox One aren't instantly going to die. The PS4 is still going to get releases in 2021. The Xbox One is still going to get releases in 2021, and the Switch is going to start getting ports of those games. Developers will be like, all right, we're going to make a PS5 version, we're going to make a PS4 version, but because we made the PS4 version, we can port that version, which is the lesser version, over to the Switch, and this way the game's going to be on the Switch. That's how it's worked in the past. That's how, games got developed for the Wii. That's how, that system stayed alive as long as it did. That's how the PS2 stayed alive as long as it did. So I think that if it doesn't happen in 2020, which it might not, especially if this is the true Pro that we've been debating about, then 2021, I would think they would have to. If they don't do a Switch Pro, a successor at that point. I mean, if you think about it, the 2022 will be the 5-year mark for the Switch. And that seems about right for a new system anyways. So if they want to prolong it, they could say 2021, here's the Switch Pro, and then they can move it to 2023, 2024 and be on their own schedule, and we get the successor to the Switch.
Yeah. Looks like Jared is saying that since they don't have anything announced for a Pro yet, he can see them showing some form of a Pro at 2020 E3, kind of to stay in the new console buzz with PS5 and Scarlet around the corner. Hassan's saying that a Switch Pro next year could be overshadowed, again, like you guys have said, by Scarlet and PS5, or it could help the Switch with multi-platform titles, though. So you could see it going either way. And Jared follows up with that he would have loved to see an upgrade to the Tegra X2, and then kind of an upgrade to the dock and kind of a big revision at some point in the future, similar to an external GPU or something that you can add to the console. Greg, you were about to say something?
No, it was pretty much just agreeing with what Barry was saying with his timeline. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting as well. And I think, we talked about before how we would have preferred, I think, the Pro to come first. I think that was kind of a common consensus around us, because it would have made sense. Seems like the Lite does push that off a little bit more. Maybe it's okay. Maybe Nintendo is in still a really good place, and they're going to make a lot more money off this Lite and this new revision for 2019 and probably into 2020. And they feel like they can maybe bide their time a little
little more and maybe put off that Pro or the next version of the Switch, next console as a whole, maybe a little longer, and actually use this extra time that the revision and the Lite creates, maybe.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how well this is actually going to sell. I mean, if they stop selling the original, then it's obviously going to sell pretty good. But comparing like just the original and the Lite, I'm kind of curious to see how well this revision is going to do.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see for sure. All right. So I know there's been a game that that Greg has been so excited to talk about for a while. And I know you guys chatted a little bit about it last time, but Barry was left out. It was so sad, and I was not here on the last podcast, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it. So I felt like before we jump into there's several other news stories that we're going to hit pretty quick near the end of our podcast before we jump into those the giveaways and stuff that we that have. I let a little more information about it. Yeah, there are going to be some giveaways. Yeah, before we jump into that, let's talk a little bit about our thoughts and our experience with Super Mario Maker 2. So it's been out for what, almost like 2 months? No, not 2 months, maybe a month and a half, or something like that.
I think it's not even a month, actually.
Not even a month.
Wasn't it like June 28th? I think it came out.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I just feel like it's been out longer. We've been talking about it for so long that I feel like it's been out longer. But yeah, not even a month old yet. Super Mario Maker 2, and Greg, I know you've probably spent more time than all three of us, or than Barry and I. We are now combined to 3 people. If you didn't catch that, but you spent more time among the 3 of us with it. Let's let you go first. What's your thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2?
I've come to really like this one a lot. The new features and tool sets are definitely very much appreciated, and definitely creates a lot more unique aspects to it. There's obviously a couple downsides to it. They took away like the ability to stack pipes that you could do in the original, which created not only a puzzle element, but also kind of way to restrict players from going back in like a pipe if you didn't want them to like go back into the subworld like right at that same point. So there were some techniques with that, and also it helps even from a design perspective. It kind of cleaned up the thing how the pipes could actually touch and whatnot, and you didn't have any like empty space kind of around the pipes. So yeah, there's that one major critique. The story mode was definitely very cool. I'm really glad they added that. I had a lot of fun. I did all the jobs and got that full 100% completion with Mario, so that was really cool to see. I did dabble a little bit with the online multiplayer, and I didn't quite like it as much as I thought I would. I think it might have been more around the courses that were played. The main thing I had with that was the courses with clear conditions, because it seems like you have some people that just race ahead, try to get to the end, and then you have other people that are actually completing those clear conditions for you. So that seemed to be a major problem with the online aspect of it. I don't know if the courses weren't thoroughly designed, or maybe they just were included in multiplayer for some unknown reason, or maybe it was just a chance that it was picked or whatnot. So that part could definitely be improved with like a free update or something like that. So all right, I think I talked for a little bit about it. I'm sure I can join in on more on your guys' thoughts, but yeah, definitely it's a lot of fun. I've created a couple levels, and I have a few more in progress, and can't wait to get those uploaded as well. I've had a lot of fun playing Barry's and Blake's courses along with Jakesters, and then there's some other people that I follow. I've been playing their courses as well. So yeah,
cool.
Definitely very cool stuff out there.
Cool. Yeah, I have not created anything at all. I've like looked at the creator and everything, but I've not created anything at all. I've been busy playing other people's levels and stuff like that, and playing through the story mode. That was actually the thing I did first. It was cool to have a story mode in there, and I just played through it. I haven't completed everything. I rebuilt the castle and did that, and did some extra stuff here and there, but I haven't not like completely 100%ed everything yet. My first goal, of course, was just to get the castle rebuilt and go through that. And then I started playing some of the top courses and kind of worked my way down there, and played some others that people put online and everything. Haven't made my way through all the ones that you guys have posted in the Discord and everything yet, but just another call out to you guys that are listening and watching live and everything. If you've been creating Super Mario Maker 2 courses, make sure you do connect with us on social media and throw them in our Discord. Make sure you get those to us. We're gonna start. I'm gonna try to see if I can start doing some kind of a series or something on our YouTube channel of your levels, me playing through your levels, and we'll try to see if we can get some other people doing that as well. So we want to kind of feature our community there as well. I know Greg did some really cool stuff around Super Mario Maker 1. So and I'm sure you probably got some ideas around what we can do for Super Mario Maker 2 in addition, but I figured at the very least, I can't create anything, but I can play the levels, and I'll be able to throw those on our YouTube.
Yeah, I know I saw on Facebook somebody commented on your post. I don't know if you had played through his course or not. Shout out to Darren, I kind of brought him from the Super Mario Maker group, so I didn't know if you threw one of his Kaiser levels at you to see how well you played on Twitch, but I haven't looked at that level specifically that he put in there.
Yeah, there's been a couple that I was like, ooh, those are rough. I did stream my first couple hours with the game, and there were a couple levels that I played then. I was like, oh, they were testing my patience, I'll just say. If I wasn't live, a controller may have almost gotten thrown a couple times, but I tried to keep it under control. And since I was live, I didn't want to, blow up on camera. But anyway, Barry, what's your experience? I know you just kind of got into it here recently after you spent a lot of time with Final Fantasy and everything. But what's your experience with Super Mario Maker 2 been so far?
I've just been having a lot of fun with it. I love the story. I love the fact that they had that story. I have no problem with the creation tools. In fact, I kind of felt I was going to have a problem doing it with the controller versus the touchscreen of the Super Mario Maker 1. And it works pretty well. I was surprised I was able to do things with just the controller. Although I do have the stylus. I had to import it from Europe, Nintendo, but I do have the stylus.
Is it? The world has to know. Is it worth importing the stylus?
Yeah, it works really well. It's great.
I just bought a $5 one on Amazon. It works perfect, 100%.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Nintendo
lost
America,
my copy here in America, so
Nintendo America.
I wasn't about to wait a month for it to come from Europe. That's for sure.
It's stupid. It's a whole new topic. I don't want to get on it. But no, I like the creation tools. I like some of the things you can do. And I like Greg. I've gone through a lot of the popular courses and played some of the top courses, and there's some really creative people out there, and I'm sure I could create something like that if I sat there and I just had the time to delve into it.
But we all know.
But I don't have no time.
Just gotta stop playing Xenoblade. You have plenty of time.
I haven't played Xenoblade in a while. I haven't played Xenoblade in a while since I finished Torna and I went back to do the DLC. I'm still waiting on you to play, Greg, and Steve to finish. But no, it's a lot of fun. I definitely enjoy it. I'm gonna say as much as Super Mario Maker 1. I think the single player stuff is better, but the novelty isn't there anymore because the first one was just so novel. But yeah, it is, in my opinion, a must-have Switch game. Absolutely, it is fantastic, especially with infinite courses. But yeah, it's gonna make for an interesting December. I'll just say that.
That's for sure. Yeah, I think what you said about the novelty is a big my biggest not complaint, but just thought about it, because it has nothing to do with the game itself. It's a great game. There's some downsides that I think Greg hit a little bit of them. Some of the things they took away from Mario Maker 1 and left it out of this one kind of seems like some odd choices here and there. But overall, I like it. I like it just as much, if not better, than the original. But yeah, the novelty is worn off, so I find myself not playing it as much up front. But I do know, I think the great thing about this game is it's got a huge life ahead of it, because there's always more and more levels that you can play. There's always going to be more and more creators that are going to be out there making more difficult levels, more challenging levels, more creative levels that you can always pick it up and have a brand new Mario level to play. And I think that's what's going to help the replay value long term. It's going to be one of those games that I may not play that much right now because Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is out. I'm going to put a little more time into that. But it's a game, kind of like Rocket League for me, that I'll be able to go back, months down the line and go, oh yeah, I want to play some Mario, and fire that up and play a few levels, and then put it down and go on to something else, and then come back and have like 5,000 levels the next time I boot it up that I've never played before. So yeah, I think that's my overall thoughts. Looks like Jared is also saying that he's really enjoying Mario Maker 2, but like Greg said, he misses some of the things that they left out from the original, especially the funny mushroom, which it kind of seemed like it's odd that they've done some different things like that. Let's talk a little bit about the different the 3D world. I got level stage design, things like that. Was that a good addition so far? Have you enjoyed that, or do you find yourself more enjoying the original 4 that were kind of there? What do you think so far, Greg?
I've still been more enjoying the original ones. I haven't really played too many of the 3D World courses, but obviously the ones that were some in story mode and some miscellaneous ones that I have played, but I still find myself enjoying a lot more like the classic like Mario World, Mario 3, and Mario 1 style levels. I never really even cared for the new Super Mario Brothers U style as much either, because I don't know, it just I don't know, I didn't really like the quite look of it. I really liked that nostalgic retro feel to the first 3. So
yeah. I found it's I forgot how much different the game mechanics are. So it's odd sometimes when you're playing level to switch into the 3D world mechanics a little bit, especially for wall crawling and things like that with the cat mechanics.
And like the long jump added in, and it's like
it was weird how they changed that, like to be able to just do it with a push of a button instead of the combination of buttons.
Well, I was always using the combination. It was working fine.
Yeah, it works just fine, but it's weird to actually just have it as one of the shoulder buttons, and you don't have to worry about the combination. Barry, what do you think about 3D World being added in?
I love it. I think the more the merrier. I'm hoping Mario 2 gets in. I'm hoping Mario Land 2 gets in. Even Mario Land 1. But yeah, I think it has enough new elements, new enemies, and new controls, like you said, like the long jump, that change the gameplay enough to make it feel different. And some of the stuff is just it's just more tools to work with. Mm-hmm. The only thing that sucks is if you decide to switch styles, you lose your entire level. So you have to go from the ground up building 3D World.
Yeah. And I guess that makes sense. So we talked about that when they made that announcement. It's unfortunate. It totally makes sense because the games are so different in that way. But it would have been nice to be able to have to switch between all 5 of them and any of the ones that come in the future. But yeah, it does make sense, I guess, why they made that choice. But it is interesting too that they've left out, with all these new additions, they've left out some things that seem odd. I know Game Explain, Andre was trying to recreate the missing level that was on the back of the Super Mario Brothers 3 box, and he kind of recreated that. But come to find out, you can't use that level, and you can't make green grass. Like, that doesn't exist in Super Mario Maker 2, which was odd, I guess. Like, I mean, if that's all that was, there to be able to recreate that level, that doesn't make sense. But it does seem kind of interesting that they've left out certain aspects like that. Do you think with future updates, we think that there's going to be future updates. We think that they're probably going to add in additional stage design, worlds and stuff that you can create in possibly Super Mario Brothers 2 kind of world and things like that. Do you think that those updates are going to be coming soon? What do you think about any of the updates, Greg?
Usually, if memory serves from the first one, I think there was about like a few months out before like the first initial update came, and then there was like another 6 or 9 months after that before like the last like real major update had come with like additional features. So I would like to think that we might have like news of new features, like and then maybe announce like the next Nintendo Direct or something like that, possibly for that even releasing soon after. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to be handling this one compared to the previous one.
Yeah, when they do start, I think we all agree there's going to be updates when they do start releasing them. What are you hoping to see?
I absolutely want to see, like I said, Super Mario 2 USA. I want to see Mario Land and Mario Land 2, for sure. I would even like to see maybe like a Wario Land style added in. I think the sky's the limit really on it. They could do 3D Land and make it like 3D World, but have elements like the Tanuki suit and stuff like that. There's just a ton of things they could do. I do think the earliest we would see it will be holiday. I think they'll be like, hey, guess what? Get a Switch this holiday with Super Mario Maker 2. Oh, and there's a brand new update where you can do 5 styles or 6 styles instead of the 5. If we don't see it there, then probably maybe spring. When there's a lull, they'll use DLC to in place sometimes of a brand new game. We saw it definitely with the Wii U. They did it a lot where it was like, oh, there's nothing coming out, but oh, Mario Kart 8 has DLC this month, or Hyrule Warriors has DLC this month, or something like that. So I think it really will determine based on their release schedule if it's not this holiday to start with.
Yeah, that makes
So do you
sense.
think it'll be like a paid DLC, or do you really think like the new styles would be like a free update?
I don't know. This is Nintendo. They've done plenty of great free DLC, like ARMS and Splatoon, for example, and even Smash. But then they've also done plenty of great DLC, like Mario Kart, Hyrule Warriors, Smash as well. So I can't say either way at this point.
Yeah, what do you think, Greg?
I was thinking it just more depends on the scope. If they're gonna like legitimately add another style, I think they could certainly make it like a pack for whatever, I don't know, like $7.99 or something like that.
And I'm sure you would buy it in a heartbeat.
Most likely, yeah. If it's just gonna be like a couple items, I'm sure that would be like a free update, kind of like the key update was to the first game with like those red coins and like the bumpers and stuff.
I mean, even Captain Toad had paid DLC, so I mean,
yeah. So I think it just really depends on the scope of what they're adding. I mean,
yeah.
I can't see them making like 10 new tools and saying like, oh, now it's pay us like $5 for them. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But if they're like adding like an actual style or maybe some course themes, I would think they could easily slap on like a whatever, like a $5 or $7 price tag and say like, here you can have a few more things to play around with that way.
Yeah, it definitely seems. I feel like the themes would definitely cost money. I think new tools probably wouldn't, but I think if they do go that route, it seems that makes the most sense to me. That themes would cost money, and I could see like everything that you talked about. They're very. Like, I'd love to see all those different themes come in. I'd love to see the things from the old one that they've left out. Maybe make some tweaks there to kind of have the best of both worlds. Some of the stuff you talked about earlier, Greg. What else would make this game better, Greg? What do you hope to see in an update that you hope they bring out?
I don't know. I mean, it's really easy to say like, oh, so bring in some like missing Mario elements like the Koopalings and stuff like that. But I mean, you already have like Boom Boom and Bowser Jr. It's like, do we really need that kind of stuff? I mean, sure, it can fit in easily. I mean, I know one thing they really want is to have like a full game connectivity kind of thing, so you can create like a full game of whatever 32 courses, eight worlds, 4 levels per world or whatever, and then being able to like upload that as one continuous experience online or something like that. That's a very highly anticipated thing that I've seen that I think would be really make gangbusters if they were able to implement something like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I want you to be able to take power-ups and give them to enemies. So you could take the Cat Mario and make Cat Goomba.
You just want
and
Cat
my wife
Goomba.
Will be very, very happy.
Wife, yeah.
That's what I want to see, Nintendo. Make it happen.
Cat Goomba. That's all it takes to make Barry's household happy.
I'm add the cat suit to Mario 1, right?
No, it doesn't have to be Mario 1, just some 3D World.
That'd be awesome if you had Mario 1. Jared says that he doesn't think doesn't know if they charge or not because a large portion is playing with other people's levels, which may negate the need to buy DLC if you can just play their levels, which is true. Although there are a lot of people that are just loving creating levels, and I think maybe that's the deal. If you just love playing other levels, maybe you get to benefit just by playing other people's levels. But you have to actually pay to be able to use those creator things. Maybe that's the DLC, but it's interesting like what kind of issues that would cause, because you can also download other people's levels and edit them. And so how would that play out if you didn't have the DLC? And so maybe that's the incentive as well. If you're all out playing, maybe that's no big deal. But if you are at the least bit of a creator or a tweaker of other people's levels, you're going to need to pay to make that to get that purchase.
Well, I've heard like even if you like download and tweak it, still will not ever let you upload it. So like, I don't know if I don't think there's a way to like get around it, like save it as like a new course or anything. I still think it retains that downloaded aspect of it. Because I've heard even if the creator deletes their course from the course world, then it will remove your downloaded copy automatically.
Interesting.
So I've heard some people trying to do like some collaboration of like designing and like feedback and stuff, and then as soon as you take it off of the server, then it deletes any local copies created.
That's interesting. Maybe that could be a new cool thing if they were able to add in some sort of collab thing online. I'd love that it's you can edit 2-player like on the same system, but maybe there's some way to collaborate on creating levels online. That would I think make a lot of people happy as well. All right. Well, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot more of our coverage and our thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 as new updates come along, as we play your levels again. Throw your levels down in the comments. Give them to us on social media, our Discord server. We would love to play those. And in the future, we'll be able to feature some of them as well. Before we wrap up, there's a lot of smaller stories, quicker stories we want to hit, kind of speed round, if you will. So a couple quick things. I'll just toss to you guys and see if you guys have any thoughts about these things. But one thing that we found out just a couple weeks ago, again, right after the last podcast, that NES Online is going to feature, and now does, it's live, a rewind feature on all the NES games. So if you mess up, you don't have to have a save a save point anymore. You can actually just hit the L and R buttons, I believe, and pick a point at some point in the future or the past, and just gonna replay that section. So if you made a stupid decision, just accidentally died, it's okay. Just go back in time and pick up from that point and try it again. You guys have any thoughts about this rewind feature, Barry?
I think it's great. I think, especially on some of the harder NES games, it would have made my childhood a little bit easier. Yeah. But I just wish instead of this feature, they, I don't know, added support for more systems, Nintendo. Come on.
Yeah.
This month has been super weak.
So true. Greg, what do you think of the rewind feature?
I think it's great. I mean, I did play around with it a little bit, even on like the Mega Man collection. I've beaten those games like dozens of times already, so it's like if I just made a stupid pointless error, then I would just rewind it a couple seconds, but okay, I can do it again. Like makes it a lot more seamless, and as Barry said, it's really great on some of those harder games where it's really easy to mess up. Like one mistake can really down spiral like completely out. So
yeah,
nice to have. I don't know how much often I'll use it, but at least on the games already there. But
it's nice that it's there. Yeah, for sure. Jakester says that he would have loved having it on Zelda 1. I personally would love having it on Zelda 2, because that's the more difficult game for sure. In fact, I don't believe I've ever beat that game without the help of a Game Genie. It's too difficult for me. And Jared says it's a cool add-on. He just kind of feels like it makes the old games too easy, which I'd agree as well. It's kind of like that way of the easy mode that they're adding in a lot of games nowadays. Although it doesn't play the game for you, you still have to beat each part. It does help though when those silly mistakes. They're like, oh, I just timed that jump wrong. I had it. I played it like 20 times before. I just hit that one wrong. Now you can just kind of backtrack and hit that. So
Yeah, I mean, it's something simple. If you just make a careless error in like Mario and you like lose a power up that you really wanted to keep, and you're able to just go, okay, let's go back a couple seconds, and then you can still repractice it until you get it right. So
yeah.
that part is kind of nice and convenient if you want it, or you literally don't have to use it if you don't want to. So
yeah. I feel like games like Mega Man would really benefit from this, especially those ones that just have to be precise timing the whole time, and you can kind of replay some of those and practice exactly where you need to jump, for instance, of the moving blocks and the disappearing blocks and things like that.
although I have to admit, like at least it was fun in Mega Man. There was like a boss where I had like one hit before I could die, and then I like kept rewinding it until I beat him without dying. So,
Nice.
Well,
So
that's
it's like-
cheap.
Hey, they let you do it now. No. All right.
It took a lot more time if I would have just stacked the life and just started
true.
the battle over. But
That's true. We also have Dr. Mario World finally came out on iOS and Android. And yeah, have you guys got a chance to play around with Dr. Mario World yet, Greg?
yeah, I'm currently the leader between the three of us. You guys haven't like played it in like a week.
I have played it. There's some levels really right around where I am now. Like level 60 right now is giving me being a pain in my side right now. Because like I get so close to being able to beat it, and I haven't spent any money or anything like that. But yeah, level 60 right now is my my current thorn in my flesh.
Yeah, that one was a little bit harder. I do have to give you that, but I'm already approaching 90, so like I'm like steamrolling ahead of you guys.
Yeah,
And Barry's stuck down all the way in the 40s. He too busy playing Dragalia Lost.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy.
True.
So, yeah, Barry, what's your thoughts so far about Dr. Mario World?
I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. It's better than I thought it was going to be, but it's not. Like it's had a ridiculous amount of downloads really early, but I don't think it's going to have a ridiculous amount of profits in the end. I think it's too. I don't think it's a grabber game. Like it's one, and what I mean by that is like something that makes you say like, oh, you know what? I absolutely need to spend money on this. You could play that game super casually, and puzzle games are absolutely perfect for casual, and not really spend money. Even if you decide to do the hearts, like you spend 5 hearts, you have to wait 2.5 hours. Like you're only going to pick it up, play a little bit, and then put it down 2.5 hours, go back to work. Oh, look, I could take a break from work now because now I could play 5 levels again, put it down. And a lot of the levels give you hearts right back. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep getting hearts here, like whatever. It's fun. It's just something that like I put it towards the middle of Nintendo's online offering or mobile offerings. It definitely is not anything close to Dragalia. And if you look at the chart, like it has like in its first like week or whatever, like it blew past Dragalia in terms of downloads, but Dragalia still had more money spent, and definitely more money spent per download. So it's one of those where it's great recognition. Dr. Mario, it might help lead to Switch game sales, which I think is what they want it to do, like a Dr. Mario Switch. But I do not think it's going to be a huge moneymaker.
Yeah, I've actually I mentioned this I think when we found out the structure of how they're going to make that with the hearts and everything, and it's actually done exactly the way I thought it would. When I'm making progress, it gives me a heart for winning and move on to the next level. And when I get stuck, I end up spending all 5 hearts and I need to take a break, and that's okay because that's probably about the same time I need a break. It's like when I get stuck in a Zelda thing and I'm trying to figure out the puzzle, and sometimes you just need to take a break. You go get a drink and go walk away, clear your mind out, and then come back later, and all of a sudden you beat it in like 5 seconds. So that's it. It's a good pacing for me. So I guess thank you, Dr. Mario World, for pacing me well. I don't know.
Yeah, I do have to say I've only hit like 0 hearts like once. Like I have to like legitimately like be like I really need to stop, and I still have like 5 hearts because I keep clearing the level like and getting a new heart. So
nice. Well,
most times on the first try, and then
some of us aren't as cool as Greg. Some of us struggle with them.
I do have one piece of recommended advice is to try out the multiplayer mode. That kind of gets you a lot more used to playing more high speed and getting more used to being able to just drag the pieces like everywhere and like move very quickly. It's very good advice to be able to, very good experience to have, and it gets you more familiar with a lot of the story mode levels.
Yeah. Who's your doctor? Before we move on, I gotta figure out who your. I chose Mario because classic. I guess I gotta go with Mario. Greg, who'd you pick?
I also had to go classic and pick Mario, but right now I'm using Yoshi. So.
All right. Barry, who'd you go for?
I went for Bowser, and though I kind of wish I went for Mario because I pulled 2 Marios out of my pool for my hiring thing, so I would have had them at level 3 instead of level 2. But yeah, I'm using Bowser right now.
Too bad. Yeah, it seems like kind of mixed thoughts in the chat. Some people are liking it. Some people, they tried it. Some went back to Pokemon Go. Others made them go to play different games. So yeah, I think it's Dr. Mario. It's never been that top selling, like everybody has to have game, but it's also never at the bottom of the barrel either. It's that mid-level game.
Just really comes down to if you like puzzle games, really. If you don't really like puzzle games, it's not for you. I fully acknowledge that. I'm really into puzzle games, so it's right up my alley, and that's why I'm so far already where I'm at. So
yeah, I like this version of Dr. Mario though better because I never got into the traditional Dr. Mario. This is a little slower paced, and I can actually, there's levels that are timed, but the majority of the levels are not, and so I feel like I get into that a lot more. It's more my style of puzzle for sure.
For me, I think in terms of Nintendo's free offerings of puzzle games, Pokemon Shuffle was worlds better. Like that game, I would wake up at like 3 a.m. just to spend my hearts quickly, and then go back to bed. It was so good catching Pokemon and doing things like the Safari where you had random Pokemon appear, and there was just so much to it, to the point that I actually did get burned out after like a year and a half of playing it every day on my 3DS, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Like at this point, I had to put the game down. Dr. Mario has come nowhere near hooking me like that game did.
Yeah. Let's go move on to the next story. Again, quickly hitting these things. Greg, you probably know a lot more about this because you're a huge Fire Emblem fan. And again, I want to say before we jump into this discussion, a quick discussion about this news, that we try to stay away from political stuff, when all the things that could be attached to this. And I know this type of a news story can kind of raise some different thoughts and opinions from people from different backgrounds and things like that. So we're gonna try to stray away from that sort of thing, and even telling where we stand on any of that sort of thing. But it is, I think, worth acknowledging because it's not the first game to do this. But I believe possibly one of the first Nintendo games to kind of acknowledge this. Greg, what's going on with Fire Emblem Three Houses?
So I guess Nintendo was asked like in an interview. I think I don't remember the source exactly, so I apologize. But basically, it was like brought up the subject of like same-sex marriages and stuff like that. So they did acknowledge that there's a wider variety of options this time around. This is like pretty much the first Fire Emblem game to really delve this deep. I think in Fates it was limited to like 1 or 2 characters, and that was it. And it was very, very like minor, but this time they're really opening the doors to have multiple characters to please a lot more people in the audience. So from that regard, it's fantastic that you have that option if you want to do so. Obviously, you probably don't have to, I don't think. So it's just great to have that option there for the fans that do appreciate that kind of feature. So
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely not something brand new. Many other games have done this before, but yeah, like you said, Greg, we have a lot of different options for people that do want to go in that route within the game. And I personally just think it's a great thing that they're not forcing it upon you, so you have options within the game. But Barry, what do you think about this move?
In my opinion, it's a great thing too. I think that anytime any developer gives you choices in a video game, regardless of what they are, it's a good thing. The more choices just means more replay, means more customizable, which means more personal, a more personal journey. And the biggest example that comes to mind immediately is the Mass Effect series, which was all about choices, and it made sure that like your playthrough was completely different, or different enough to somebody else's that you felt that attachment. And I think when you play a role-playing game, you should feel the attachment because you are playing the role, and you should feel like there are plenty of characters. And Fire Emblem has this too with like Robin, where the character is a player avatar. A Link is actually a perfect example of that too. That's the very reason he doesn't talk. He's supposed to be the player avatar for inserting yourself into the world of Hyrule. And I think anytime you get the freedom to do whatever it is you want, or it just adds an immersion. And another one, Grand Theft Auto. The reason that game like took off is because you can pretty much do anything. There were, the invisible walls, or, oh, you can't do that. You go right through that NPC. What? No, you can punch them out. Whoa, that's unheard of. And I think that's why that series took off, because of freedom. People like freedom. People like to be able to do things. People don't like restrictions in real life and in games. So, I applaud him. I think absolutely. In fact, I don't even think this should be a news story. Developer gives you choices in a game. That should not be a story. That should just be what you should have. The story should be developer restricts what you can do. You can only go to the right and push A to jump, and that's all you can do. Okay, we got a problem here. But open world game, you could go anywhere, like Breath of the Wild. Like that's great. That's what made Breath of the Wild so great, is you had the choices. You can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you can go down, you can go wherever you want. And I think that creates a better adventure.
Moving on to another quick news story. Apparently, there's a law firm that's investigating the Joy-Con drifting issue. I guess a company called CSK&D is investigating a potential class action lawsuit about the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and the drifting issue. I have personally not had this issue at all. I don't know if either of you guys have had this issue at all. And if you haven't, either way, any thoughts about this? Is this pointless? Why would they do this? Or are you like all for it and glad to see this happen? What do you think, Barry?
I don't think this is as widespread of an issue as people are making it seem. It never happened to me. It never happened to anyone I know. But I'll take my 50-cent check in the mail for having a launch system if it comes through. For sure. Whatever. Nintendo did put out a statement and like, oh, like we cherish our people. We want everyone to have entertainment, and if you have had problems, please contact us. So they acknowledge that there are issues, and yet there are definitely issues, but it's a lot smaller. As I say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. The people that are vocal that are having these problems are the minority. The majority, like us, just stay silent on it. Like, my Switch is working. I don't need to broadcast to the world, hey, guess what, guys? My Switch is working. I just play my Switch and move on with my life. You just have no idea.
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is. If they find that there were enough affected units that they could actually do a class action lawsuit, then it'll happen, and Nintendo will most likely sweep it away. Like, here's some money, shut up. Well, let's move on. We fixed that issue. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a class action suit. You never get a whole lot, maybe 50 cents in the end. I'd personally like them to take action, finally, real action about these cracks on my Switch is what I'd rather have them take action on. And I want them to fix it for free. I don't want some 50 cents for a class action lawsuit, drifting or crack or whatever. I want them to just fix my Switch. But Greg, any thoughts about this before we move on?
Yeah, my Joy-Con is experiencing that. So I had noticed that when we were playing Paw Patrol that like I was just not even touching it, and then it was like just started like moving to the right automatically, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like I didn't even understand that it was going on. This is not like every time I play a game. Seems like it's very, very intermittent right now, but I definitely have seen it a little bit, even a tad in Mario Maker, where it like kind of cost me like a life or whatever at one point, because you want to be stopped, and then it's like, oh nope, I'm going to move to the right, and like there's not always ground there. So
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I'll sign up for it or whatever, but I definitely is not making an enjoyable experience playing some games, and
You get your
like,
50 cents, Greg.
Yeah.
rather get a new Joy-Con. But yeah,
Right. Exactly. I'd rather just, like I said, have them fix the issue, not actually a class action lawsuit doesn't do a whole lot.
I have
They will
watched
send you a glove. That's what they will do to
yeah.
fix
So
it.
it's like Steve got the first issue with the cracks, and I got the second issue with the Joy-Con. So Barry, you got to watch your words, or the next big issue coming through.
Right. Right.
I play mainly with Pro Controller because, like I said, I play mainly docked.
That's true.
Well, that's
Yeah.
with the next problem, probably, right?
Although,
Yeah. I don't
although
know. Maybe our Joy-Cons do drift. We just don't use them that often enough.
I did use my Joy Cons with Starlink because you had to use the physical toys, and I had no problem there.
There you go. Moving on, we have 2 game release announcements. One that we knew was coming in the fall, and this particular one we kind of guessed at what the release date would be, and I think we pretty much hit it right on the head. And the other one kind of came out of left field. So 2 completely different games. Luigi's Mansion. I got a note in the mail, in my email, about my pre-order was updated with an actual launch date, which got me going, ooh, okay, I wonder if this is real. And it's definitely the case. So Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be coming on October 31st of this year. So right there for Halloween, which totally makes sense with the style of game it is. And for those of you that are Super Monkey Ball fans, it is coming back. But it's Banana Blitz is the version that they decided to remake. So yeah, Banana Blitz, of all the games, that's the one they chose to do an HD remake, and that's going to be hitting the Switch and as well as on other systems on October 29th. So a couple days before Luigi's Mansion. Any thoughts on either of these games, Greg?
Well, definitely excited for Luigi's Mansion. I never really got into Super Monkey Ball, but maybe if they were to release a demo, maybe I might give it some consideration, but never played the series. But yeah, it's pretty much just quick and easy for me.
All right, Barry?
Luigi's Mansion 3, like no brainer. I was so happy to see Monkey Ball coming back because while many people were playing Smash Melee on their GameCubes, and my friends and I included, we played Monkey Ball more. It was just a better party game, and yes, those are fighting words, and I will take it. Monkey Target is the best party game you can have. It is awesome. And then when I found out it's Banana Blitz, which to me was like the worst one outside of the second Wii. I think it was Step and Roll, which was the second one on the Wii.
Yes. Oh,
that was the worst, along with Adventure. And then Banana Blitz is there. And like I even enjoyed Super Monkey Ball 3D, which launched on the 3DS. I played through that. Not that there was much to play on the 3DS at launch, but I did play through that, and I did enjoy that. But yeah, Banana Blitz is my opinion like one of the worst. And you know why one of the worst is because the Wii, like I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. You could tilt with the Wiimote, and that works terribly. So maybe Banana Blitz is actually a great game, and it was all the control. So I do look forward to giving it a second try using the Switch, and hopefully it's better. But I would have been so much happier if they just did a Monkey Ball 1 and 2 combo re-release, and then a Super Monkey Ball 3 announcement. Like that would make me so happy. And Greg, you say you've never played Monkey Ball. Like you owe it to yourself to find a copy of Super Monkey Ball 1 for the GameCube. They're dirt cheap, and just you don't even have to play the main game, when the main game is amazing. Like I did 1 and 2, I did the master levels on that. Like in those master levels will make the hardest Mario Maker level look like cakewalk. But play Monkey Target. That's all you have to do is play Monkey Target. It is addicting. It is fun. It is amazing. It is life.
Yeah. Jakester's asking what we have against Blitz. I think Barry Martinez nailed it. And I think the big thing with the Wii controls weren't bad. Like if you were pretty concise, it was okay. But I think they would have really benefited from the Joy-Con or the Wii Plus controller, and especially the preciseness of the Joy-Cons. I think it's going to be potentially a brand new game if they end up using motion controls still.
I hope they have standard controls too. Like give us the option.
It'd be nice to have both. Yeah, for sure. And I think, it's not a horrible game. I think the controls were a lot of the hindrances, and I think it just didn't have some of those features like the first two had. Like it wasn't as just, it didn't grab you like those did. And like I think Jared said, and you said too, Barry, I've been so much happier. I think if they did package those first two games in a remake, or even packaged all three of them together, fantastic remake Banana Blitz, but give us 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah. Another thing is like Monkey Ball 1 had, I think it had 3 mini games, and they were all fantastic. And then Monkey Ball 2 had 6 mini games. And Target came back and they kind of ruined Target. It's okay, but it's not as good as Monkey 1. But at least there was like care to the mini games. And then Monkey Ball Blinded Blitz was like, we have 50 mini games. I'm like, oh my god, 50 or whatever it was. And they were all terrible early Wii motion gimmick garbage games that looked like someone just said, hey, here's 50 of the worst ideas we could do, and someone said make it, and none of them work. They're not fun. They're terrible. So if they go back and fix those games, maybe they're good, but the controls, like this early waggle Wii, it was terrible.
Yeah,
no fun.
For sure. Hey, that's all the news we got. There was a lot to talk about tonight, for sure. But before we wrap up, we do have 2 contests and 2 giveaways to talk about really soon, which are really exciting. So stay tuned. But before we do that, I do want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Thanks for jumping in the chat and talking about this news with us tonight. If you have not done so yet, if you're brand new to Nintendo Fuse, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video if you have enjoyed it, and hit that bell on YouTube to be alerted every time we post a new video. And if you're listening later on a podcast app, be sure to subscribe there. And no matter where you are, share this with others that enjoy talking about Nintendo. We would love to grow our community, including our social media and our Discord server. We would love for you guys to jump in there and talk games with us throughout the week in between our podcasts. That'd be awesome. So just kind of search for us on social media at Nintendo Fuse. The link to our Discord will be in our show notes, and it'd be great to talk all about games with you guys. All right, now it's time to talk about these contests. And so, Barry, I'll let you go first. Talk about this exciting stuff we got going on this year. Back for I think the 3rd time we've been able to do something like this, but this time it's really exciting this time around.
It is. Okay, so for those of you that have been with Nintendo Fuse for a while, you'll probably already know this, but for those of you that are newer to us, we have been very fortunate to work with a company called Playcrafting. For those of you who don't know, it is a company that is based out of New York City. They do a bunch of different gaming events, and working with a lot of indie developers as well as bigger publishers throughout the year. And the CEO and founder of Playcrafting is a guy named Dan Butchko. He's an amazing, amazing human being, and I'm proud to call him my friend. And I look forward every year to sitting down and talking with him. And this year is no exception. I was very, very honored to be able to do our 3rd annual industry talk, which should go live tomorrow. That's Tuesday, the 23rd. And I do encourage everyone to watch that. He's a great guy. And they put on a show called Play New York City. And this year, Play NYC is 2019. It is going to be at the Metropolitan Pavilion, which is 125 West 18th Street in Manhattan. These shows are like mini E3s, but unlike E3s or some other game shows, when you go to play a game, you actually get to talk to the developer. The developer is the one showing you the game, so you get to play and say like, "Oh, I like this," or "I don't," and actually talk right to them, and they want to hear your feedback. So there's a lot of new things coming this year, a lot of great things. There are things that were only shown off at E3 on the E3 show floor that are going to be playable at Play NYC. New venue, bigger, better. Like there's a ton, and I don't want to spoil it. And I do encourage you watch the industry talk because Dan was super enthusiastic. He had me so hyped, ready to go. Like there's so much to this. But this will be held August 10th and 11th of this year. That's a Saturday, Sunday. And we have a contest going out for free tickets. He has been so gracious to give us more free tickets. He's done it 2 years ago with the first show. He did it last year, and he's doing it again this year. So we have a contest, and that contest page is live right now. You can go to NintendoFuse.com. And the link will be there. Please enter the contest. The contest is for the Dev and Pro passes. These are $100 tickets that we are giving out. We got a bunch of them to give out. So we want some winners. What does it give you? This gives you access to the show floor Saturday and Sunday. So it's a 2-day pass. It also gives you access to an industry-only party. It gives you access to an industry lounge. There's going to be an industry lounge during the show where developers and press will be there, as well as you. You could just walk into this. You could chill with the other developers. You could talk with them. You could talk to other press. You could just have fun. And I'll be there. So if you come, please say hi to me. On top of that, you actually get in a little bit earlier on Saturday if you choose. The show runs from 10 to 6 both days. But if you go Saturday, you can get in at 9. Which is really cool. So you can kind of get in before the crowd and get to play some of these games. And this is all offered for free. This is all as a giveaway to honor our Nintendo Fuse loyalists, and we want to give these tickets to you. It is a great show. We've had several people over the past few years. We actually had a whole article. If you want to go to NintendoFuse.com, you can look it up, what people thought of 2018. You could see my review of it, my personal review, and you could see what our contest winners thought of it. And this show is tackling a lot of the criticisms and being even better. Like one of the biggest criticisms, which I'll just say, is that they were on multiple floors and sometimes it was a little cramped. This year it's flat. It's one big floor. It's a bigger space, one floor, easier for handicap, accessible, and every developer is getting enough room. So there's no more crampedness. And it's just one of those things that I'm looking forward to so much, and I hope you guys are too, and hopefully you can make it. Again, this is a yearly thing, and we try to do this every year, but we can't do this giveaway every year without you guys, because we want to give back to the community, and they have been so gracious to allow us. So please go to NintendoFuse.com. Please go to the contest and enter, because we want to give you tickets to this great event. And also stay tuned for that industry talk again. That's going to be tomorrow, the 23rd. Even if you can't make it, watch that. Support Playcrafting and all they do, because they are trying to bring new video game events to New York City as well as other cities. And we need more companies like them.
Yeah, for sure. And that link is nintendofuse.com/playnyc. But if, like Barry said, if you go to our page, nintendofuse.com, you'll see a couple different ways to just click on that link. So just head to nintendofuse.com and enter today and share that with others as well. Like we said, we have a lot to give away. So be sure to get that link out to others, especially those that are in the New York area. We'd love to for as many people as we can get to go. That'd be awesome. And they really enjoy.
Also, I do want to say, if you don't win, like if you can't win, or you're debating, you don't want to know if you want to enter, and you just say, you know what, maybe I just want to buy tickets. You can actually go to the site, the Play NYC site, and you can actually buy tickets right now. And you can actually get a discount. They were, in addition to giving us free tickets, they did do this for us. They also gave us a coupon code, pretty much, that you can get a discount. So if you go there and you want to buy tickets, you buy the weekend pass, that's $50. You use the discount code NintendoFuse, you will get 40% off of your price. That's $20 off of the price. So if you don't win, or you're not sure if you want to enter, and you're just like, you know what, this sounds too good, I don't want to take the chance in waiting, I just want to make sure I get my tickets, do that and use the code NintendoFuse and get 40% off a weekend pass as well.
That's such a great deal. So if you're wanting to win, enter to win. If you just want to give them some money because you love them so much, like we do, go ahead and buy tickets and just use the discount code. Or if you miss out and you actually didn't win and you want to get tickets later on, use the discount code and save some money as well. So that's awesome. That'll be running for 2 weeks, right, Barry, until our next podcast?
Yep, the winners will be announced our next podcast, and the contest runs right until 9:29 and 59 seconds, our next podcast, which is in 2 weeks. So plenty of time to enter. but the sooner the better. Make sure you do it so you don't forget about it, and we want to give ample time for everybody. But we do hope to see you guys there. And if you win, seek me out. I'll be there. Definitely Saturday, maybe Sunday. And come say hi. It happened last year. You got to meet Jared, who was in the chat. He came and met me last year. That was awesome. It was just it makes my day to be able to meet and all our fellow listeners, and especially when we can give the gift of gaming to other people.
For sure. Yeah. And on top of that, we do have a second giveaway, and this one is going to be a little quicker of a thing. We'll just say, in order to win this, all you're going to do is leave a comment in the chat, or not the chat, the comment section of our YouTube video later after the fact. So the chat does not count when you need to leave a comment after the fact, and some gracious people over connected to Team Sonic Racing, which is a great game to take on the go. Maybe even when you get your Switch Lite, it's going to be one of those games that you can take on the go with you and but play wherever you go, and to get a free copy, potentially a free copy of Team Sonic Racing. We have a code to give away. We're going to pick one at random, and we'll just say on the whim, we're going to give you 72 hours. So for the next couple of days, we're going to be able to take comments and everything, and then we'll pick one at random. So leave a comment, and we'll pick one at random to win a code for Team Sonic Racing. And thanks to the team over there for giving us some codes to give away to you guys, our fans and our listeners.
Should we make it like maybe like say your favorite Sonic games and why?
Yeah, let's do that. That's a great comment. So say your favorite Sonic game in the chat. Let's or not the chat, the comments. So favorite Sonic game in the comments, and we'll pick one of those, like I said, at random. So it doesn't matter. Maybe your favorite Sonic game is Sonic 06, and we're not going to hold it against you. It's at random. You may get chosen, even though it's a horrible pick. Maybe that's your favorite. So you can pick whatever you want, and we'll pick one of those at random at the end of this week. So,
and if you are curious about Team Sonic Racing, we do have a game chat on our YouTube channel that you can go ahead and watch too for our thoughts.
That's true, and so like we said, it's a good game, but Barry, it's you and Mike, right?
Yeah.
You guys talked about it quite a bit, so you can hear all about our thoughts about Team Sonic Racing. So, all right, let's wrap this thing up quickly before we do so. Greg, what are you looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks?
Fire Emblem Three Houses. Boom. Done.
All right, done. That doesn't surprise me at all. All right, Barry, what are you looking forward to playing?
I'm looking forward to continuing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 and Final Fantasy and Dragalia. And honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm getting Fire Emblem, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna go right into it or not. There's some other titles coming that I don't even know what's coming, to be honest with you. And then like things just show up at my door, and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about this game. This is out now. Okay, well now maybe I want to play it. So I really don't know. It's potluck almost.
Yeah. All right. Would Wolfenstein Youngblood be one of those games, maybe?
That is definitely coming out, and I am getting it. Unfortunately, though I'm getting it, it's one of those codes in a box, and I'm really angry about it. But it's technically an official release, but I absolutely hate it because it's not really a physical game. But I didn't play Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, or the remake of 1. I played the original, obviously, Wolfenstein 3D, and the Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which I think was in the original Xbox. But I've since grown out of first-person shooters. They haven't done it for me nearly as what they used to do. So it's probably not going to touch my system.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty much I'm going to be playing, Super Mario Maker 2 some more when I get to all you guys' levels and stuff. But Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is going to be the thing that I'm going to be playing the most, other than Rocket League, of course, over the next few weeks. So, hoping to maybe even be far along enough by the next podcast to say I beat it or come close to beating it. So we'll see. And hopefully maybe by that time, Barry and I would have gotten some chance to do some co-op online too.
Yeah, I'd like that.
For sure. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, be sure to hit that bell to be alerted every time we post a new video. Subscribe, hit the like button here on YouTube, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app of choice. And share this with other Nintendo fans. We are so grateful that you've tuned in for episode 179. We've been doing this for so long. I believe an anniversary is coming up pretty soon. We'll tell you more about that in a future episode. But thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to be back on August 5th for episode 180. And until then, thanks so much for joining us, Greg, Barry. It's been great as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and glad to be a part of it, even if I show up late. So.
Yes, thanks as always. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks.
All right. See you next time.